17-6. As Pat Summerall mentioned, Troy Aikman has returned to the field. He changed into warm-ups. He told Dr. Robert Vandermeer he wanted to watch the rest of the game from the field. He does have a slightly strained left hamstring. They treated it with ice. Dr. Vandermeer said it is possible that he will return next week. Pat?
Thank you, Leslie. There's Troy Aikman conversing and back on the sideline with his teammates. 2nd and 6. Garrett gets it outside to Smith again.
The other thing about Aikman that he wanted to come back out on the field and watch the rest of this game. You can tell that he didn't even comb his hair.
You know, it's funny you had not funny. That's the wrong choice of words for me. But you asked him yesterday how he was feeling. He said, I feel better than I have in a long time. The shoulder's okay. The ribs are okay. The back is fine. And now he gets a hamstring.
Yeah, and I think he started feeling too good about that running. You know, he'd run a play on the left and gained about 10 or 20 yards, and then he went to the play on the right and pulled the hamstring.
3rd and 2. Emmitt Smith. Emmitt inside the 20 to about the 18. One of the Giants who made the tackle is down. Greg Jackson, Mark Collins. That's Collins down.
Hey, one thing about Emmitt Smith, they just keep bringing him at you all day. This is that lead draw. It's a little delayed play, a good lead block by Johnston. Again, there's Alvin Harper getting just a little block out in the front, and Mark Collins gets hurt when he hits Emmitt Smith.
The good block by Johnston set up the whole big gainer. 17-6. Mark Collins is the injured Giant player. That's Dan Reeves with his back to you. Let's go back and see if we can figure out how he got hurt.
Well, first of all, it's excellent blocking. Watch Eric Williams. He takes his man out, takes his man in here. Gogan does. Then here's the big block. Daryl Johnston leads here. Emmitt Smith gives a little delay and then pops the ball right through here. And, of course, Mark Collins is going to get hurt on the tackle. But watch Eric Williams turn his guy. Boom, right there. Daryl Johnston makes that block. Emmitt Smith runs off it. Guyton misses a tackle. Pretty good block by Harper. And right there is where Mark Collins gets hurt.
Like his knees buckle under him.
Well,
on the way down.
Well, you know, Jackson hit him first. As Jackson goes to hit him, you see that he hit Collins right in the face.
Yeah.
He knocked him off the tackle. So part of that was the jolt of Emmitt Smith, but I think the bigger part of it could have been his own guy coming across to make the tackle. I think hit him right in the head. I think it was that jar that did it.
Either that or his knees just gave way underneath. While we have a moment, let's look at next week's schedule. Next Sunday at 12:30, of course, it begins with the NFL Today. The Redskins will be at New York, Green Bay at New Orleans, San Francisco at Tampa Bay. And the late games will have Phoenix at Dallas here, Minnesota at Denver, and Atlanta against the Rams in Anaheim. Phoenix, Dallas starting time has been changed. And Reeves looking on. Obvious concern. Troy Aikman. Wanted to come back. Excuse me.
Someone told Troy, he said, hey, if you got that messed up hair, at least put a hat on. Someone will pay you for the hat. No one will pay you for the messed up hair.
He says I'm not a hat guy. Coach
Taking
Johnson.
Mark Collins up now, and they're putting him on a stretcher.
Mark Collins, one of the better cornerbacks in the NFL.
A real loss here to this Giant defense, because not only their best defensive back, but also a real leader in that secondary.
And it has been.
I think that was one of those things that he was starting to tackle and was knocked off the tackle by his own man. It was more of a jolt from his own man than it was the jolt from the end of the run by Emmitt Smith.
10 the remaining games later today. The Eagles at Phoenix, Miami at the Jets, Raiders against the Bears, Indianapolis, Washington tomorrow. Not certainly in any position to speculate what might be wrong. We'll try to get word and pass it along as soon as we get it. First down, Dallas after the run by Smith. Emmitt Smith has 19 carries for 99 yards. Word we get on Mark Collins is a lower back strain. He's headed in for x-rays. First down, Dallas at the Giants 17. Garrett gives to Emmitt Smith, and Emmitt is to the 10. Over 100 for Emmitt Smith.
You know, one thing that Emmitt Smith does is he says he has to be patient. Now watch Eric Williams here, 79. They start off in a double team. He turns this guy, and you see how he not only stays with him, but he knocks him off the line and then stays with him, and then at the end you want to pancake him. That's called a pancake.
And great footwork too, John. Second and 3. Emmitt Smith again to about the 6. Canavis McGee made the stop. One thing you forget about a guy like Williams, so big, not to dwell on that, but Emmitt Smith now slow getting up. But his feet are so quick and such great footwork to handle all that bulk.
Yeah, that's the thing that they have to do. I mean, just being big isn't enough to be a professional football player. I mean, you have to be big and you have to have strength and quickness. And Williams has that. Gogan has it. Nate Newton has it. I mean, they're all big guys, but they move quickly.
First and goal from the 6. They'll try Emmitt again. Emmitt hit by Guyton at about the 2.
The other thing about Emmitt Smith running is, one, he's so durable. I mean, he's the type of guy that you can keep running and keep running and keep running. They pay him a lot of money, and every Sunday he goes out there and he earns that money. But he very seldom goes into the hole that he starts. If he starts on the left, he usually ends up running into a hole on the right. If he starts on the right, he usually ends up cutting back and running to a hole on the left.
Second and goal at the 2. Johnston in front of Smith. Novacek on the move. Darrell Johnston not quite in. No signal yet except by the Cowboys.
I think the fans wanted the Moose to get that one. They were yelling the moo. It sounds like a boo, but they're yelling moo. They were yelling moo before the snap of the ball. They were yelling for moo to get the ball.
That's how close he got.
Again, the ball has to break the plane. Pretty good block in there. The Moose cuts back a little, but the ball doesn't break the plane. You can see it there. In fact, as he dove, fullbacks aren't good divers anyway. But as he dove, he brought the ball back into his body, and that brought the ball back away from the line of scrimmage.
Third and about a foot. Try the Moose again. No. Try Emmitt Smith. Touchdown.
Let the Moose lead. Yeah, the Cowboys are just too good. When they lose Troy Aikman, Jason Garrett comes in, but they still have Emmitt Smith there. And I'll tell you the other thing is when they lost Troy Aikman, and maybe even before that, their defense picked up. And their defense has been all over Phil Simms.
Well, that's a pretty good mark of a good team. Smith, 23 carries, 115 yards now. Well, when one part of your team lets down, the other part has to pick it up. And that's what exactly they did. Murray for the extra point is good, and it's 24 to 6 with 11:22 remaining.
Okay, classic cars.
63 Vet.
Split window.
Right.
68 Camaro Super Sport.
GTO, any year.
Nice. Gran Torino.
Starsky and Hutch. Good car.
65 Mustang Ragtop.
It's obvious.
75 Pacer.
Tail fins.
Bumper bullets.
Bench seats.
Drive-ins. Boss 302s.
427 big block LED8 with an 850 double pump.
Beechwood aged Budweiser. Crisp, clean, classic.
Levi's loose-fitting jeans. A loose interpretation of the original.
When most manufacturers develop a new truck, they start with a model. Good idea. Here's ours. Introducing the first and only family of trucks designed from the inside out. A design that starts with you and has become the all-new Chevy S-Series. Everything else is history.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by the new Chevy S-Series line of trucks. So new from the inside out, everything else is history. Levi's loose-fitting jeans. Budweiser Beechwood aged for a crisp, clean, classic taste. And by Norelco patented lift and cut shavers.
Back at Texas Stadium, Cowboys 24, Giants 6. Pat Summerall with John Madden. There's a guy who's been running down on the kickoffs for a long time, number 40, Bill Bates.
And better than anyone who's run down under kickoffs for a long time. I think Bill Bates is probably the best that's ever run down under kickoffs.
Megan. Hit and knocked backwards at about the 15-yard line by Brock Marion. Somebody can get hurt celebrating.
That's what they call the shark attack. I mean, they get down there, it hurts to make a tackle. I mean, being a special teams guy in the Cowboys, you got to get revved up before they kick it. They kick it, you got to run down there like heck. Then you got to make the tackle. Then you got to jump on the guy, and the guys jump on each other, then they beat the heck out of you. But they're having fun.
Another ball, a touchdown ball for Emmitt Smith.
Now, why'd the guy look at his watch? Would he put a time of day?
What time he scored? There's Sims. Back to throw, chased by Haley.
I guess he's checking the date there.
That's right. That's it.
Yeah,
November 7th.
November 93.
I forgot Buck had a fancy watch.
Yeah, you know those military guys. Buck's an old military guy.
Yep.
You know, that could be any time on there. I mean, he could have what time it is under siege. What time it is in the air.
1300 or something like that. That little computer on the sideline.
Yeah, I mean, football's come a long way, hasn't it? I mean, they got the monitors on the sidelines and stuff to take pictures and spit it out the other end.
We used to just have a bucket of water and a charcoal bucket.
Now this is what that guy's standing down there looking at it, pushing buttons, and look, pictures come out.
Delay, offense, 5-yard penalty. Still
maybe he was grading us.
He's taking the picture, see, then that picture, they make a still picture out of that, so now they can study how they line up. Yeah, that's a good picture. They can say that. We got a picture of a guy calling timeout.
And the scoreboard. 2nd and 15, the ball at the 12. Sims to Megan. Megan by Hennings.
Chad Hennings has developed into a player. You know, he was a guy that was in the Air Force and served in the Air Force. And, I mean, how a guy that big flew airplanes, I have no idea, but he did. And he came out of the Air Force and kind of made the Cowboys as a special teams guy this offseason, bulked up, and now he's a legitimate defensive lineman.
He flew that airplane they call the Warthog.
Well, it had to be a hog. There's no way he's going to fly something that says pirouette on it.
There's Sims out of the pocket. Gets it back across the field, and the ball is lost by Derek Brown. Bates picked it up. They're saying touchdown. There's a flag on the play back in the beginning.
Yeah, you talk about Kenny Gant and doing all these things. This last kickoff, we talked about Bill Bates, but Bill Bates has been doing it for so long and better than anyone. In fact, Bill Bates was the first guy that was picked for the Pro Bowl as a special teams guy.
Offense, number 60. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
Just watch the pressure here. You see Tolbert gets so much pressure on Eric Moore that he darn near has to hold him. And Eric Moore is playing the left tackle now for Jumbo Elliott. Talking about that pinched nerve he had.
Jeffcoat put the heat on. Bates came back from very serious knee surgery a year ago. Landetta's kick. Chases Kevin Williams back to the 45. At about the 49. 43-yard punt. Bunch down to make the stop. Dallas takes over, leading 24-6.
A look behind the scenes as sports and science converge, brought to you by AT&T. Injured athletes undergo many forms of rehabilitation. Now their progress can be measured on a computerized balance board that has been used by NASA on astronauts returning from space. The Philadelphia Eagles trainers test the differences in bilateral strength between the player's injured leg and healthy leg. They can also test balance and equilibrium in players who suffer head injuries. It helps trainers and athletes assess the recovery process.
Hey, MCI friends and family customers, want to see how you could save more with AT&T? Look, most people call the same area code over and over. Well, if you spend $40 a month on long distance, AT&T will give you 25% off our basic prices to that one area code. So if you're a friends and family basic or primetime customer, you could save more with AT&T. Now, write down this number. You'll also get 15% off your other calls, too. So call now and switch. Just another part of the iPlan.
You've waited for a Buick. You've waited for Buick quality at a low sticker price. You've waited for a car with Buick's reputation for safety. It seems you've waited for a century. Buick Century, with standard driver airbag, anti-lock brakes, power locks and windows, and more. All for $14,995. So don't wait any longer. See your Buick dealer today. This is the value of the century.
Saturday at 3:30 Eastern from the site of the 1994 Olympic Winter Games in Hamar, Norway. It's the pirouette and figure skating test event featuring the ladies free skate and ice dance for Nancy Kerrigan, France's Surya Bonali, and China's Chen Lu among the many stars. At Texas Stadium today, there have been a lot of stars. Dallas leading 24-6. Tom Landry inducted into the Ring of Honor at the half. 1st and 10 Dallas. About a yard shy of midfield. Reverse coming to Harper. Reverse pass. Irvin somehow came up with the ball. Harper fired it left-handed. The pass complete. 46 yards. He can wing it.
I'll tell you one thing about Jimmy Johnson. When he gets you going and he gets things going his way, he's going to keep it going his way. Some people says he piles it on or pours it on. I don't believe that. I believe you go out and play the whole game. He's doing it. You use everything you have. He's doing that. Alvin Harper on the reverse and then a left-handed throw. Watch the fake. You think it's reverse, reverse, reverse. Harper makes you think he's going to run. Then he stops and heaves it left-handed. Not a bad heave either.
Here's the moose again. Darrell Johnson down to about the 1.5. That, by the way, was Irvin's 301st catch as a Cowboy. And that moves it into 5th place all time.
I remember
just past Doug Cosby, excuse me.
I was going to say, remember last year the Cowboys beat the Giants, and some of the Giants this week complained that maybe they poured it on.
Said that the Cowboys blitzed too much, and Jimmy Johnson said, when they start taking a knee and not trying to score, I'll stop blitzing.
I think they're going to bring up that reverse pass, but I agree with that. You just go out and play.
Touchdown again, signaled, yes, by Emmitt Smith. His second of the day. Dallas moves ahead 30-6.
The first time that Dan Reeves has been back here for a regular season game, and he really didn't expect this to happen to him. But the Cowboys are just too big, they're just too strong, they're just too talented, they're just that much better than the New York Giants.
John Giesick was at guard in place of Gogan right at the point of attack. Either one, they don't miss much. Eddie Murray doesn't miss much either. And it's 31-6 with 9:02 left to play in the fourth at Texas Stadium.
New family members mean new responsibilities and new needs for life and health insurance protection. Why not drop in on your MetLife representative to help you figure out what's right for you and your family? Get Met. It pays.
31-6, Dallas over the Giants. 9:02 left to play. This game is presented by authority of the National Football League. CBS telecast intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of CBS, the Dallas Cowboys, and the National Football League is prohibited. And Kenny Gant will go into his inspirational dance again. I guess that's inspirational.
Well, you know, he says he's a double personality guy. He said this guy, he doesn't even know him. He said Kenny Gant, the football player's one guy, and then Kenny Gant, the guy that just walks on the streets outside, is another guy. He's a shy guy off the field. Said on the field, split personality.
I can't believe I do all that stuff, he said.
Yeah.
Murray's kick sails down to Megan. Dave Megan hit down at about the 14-yard line.
Yeah, what would you think Gant looks like? I mean, you see him dancing, you see him running down, you see him hitting guys, you see him playing, and you look at that picture and you wouldn't think, hey, that guy looks like Spike Lee. Albany State. In fact, you know, the first time he was on an airplane is when he came to the mini camp. His first camp here, when he came to Dallas, was the first time he'd ever been on an airplane.
From Lakeland, Florida. He said he went to Albany State. It's not that far. Lewis Tillman, the ball carrier.
I think the Giants know, and you can see them shaking their heads there, that they've been whipped in just about every way you can be whipped. I mean, they've been whipped on special teams. They've been whipped when their offense has been out there. They had some running going, but again, the pass protection let them down, and they couldn't stop the run.
And as when you pointed out, when they got behind, the kind of team they are, when you do get behind, it's hard to make it up. You've got to be able to throw it. Here comes Haley. There goes Sims. Tony Tolbert, after Haley went by, Sims, Tolbert took him down.
I mean, that's the thing about Charles Haley, and that's why he is so good, and that's why they've made such a difficult day by Phil Sims, because if Haley comes from the outside, 94 here, and makes something happen, then things just start to fall down. That makes Sims move. Now when he moves, he has to move up, and when he moves up, there's Tolbert, there's Maryland, there's all the inside guys, Casillas and everything, and this has been a tough day for Phil Sims.
That's the fourth time he's been sacked.
I mean, look, I mean, he's been hurried 6 times, he's been knocked down 7 times, and he's a tough guy. I mean, Phil Sims is as tough a guy as there is, but doggone it, you have to give him something. And the Giants offense just haven't given him anything today. Like they're bringing him out now. I think, you know, all those knockdowns and sacks just take a toll. I mean, you got to only take so many shots, and he's taking them. It's not any one injury. I think he's just woozy there.
Well, he was shaken. You might remember just before halftime. Looked as if he might have hurt his arm at that point, but after the half, he came back okay. Now he's a bit woozy again. 3rd and 11.
You see, he had the smelling salts there. Just in there, he was putting the smelling salts up.
Kent Graham is down, the quarterback. And they cave the pocket in around Kent Graham, who gets it upfield to Chris Callaway, and that'll get the first down.
I think they finally figured that they better do something if they're getting such a pass rush up the middle. Graham's going to take the ball, go back, and then figure the heck with this. I'm going to get out of here, run to the outside. Now what can I find? Now you buy a little more time moving out there, and then you find an open man.
They just caved in the whole pocket.
Yeah, well, you see with Phil Simms, you know, they know he's not going to run, so I think they just rushed to a point, and they rushed the same way, and Kent Graham took it outside.
First down, Giants at their own 30. Here's Graham back to throw it. Intended for Tillman. Bounced off him.
Yeah, like I said, Tillman caught one pass today early. He caught a screen from Simms, and that was the first time he's caught a pass all year. So if they want to throw the ball to a running back in there, it's usually Dave Meggett. Of course, we talked about Rodney Hampton. They thought they were going to play him today, but they worked him out before the game, and his knee wasn't ready to play, at least on this turf.
Well, he said last Wednesday when he practiced he felt pretty good. Wednesday and Thursday. Since then it went downhill. Here's Graham back to throw it. Graham gets it out to Mark Jackson, and that should be enough for another Giant first down.
Pass complete to number 89, Mark Jackson.
7 minutes exactly left to play.
You know, of course, the score is 31-6, but sometimes it just takes a little movement. You just have to do something, you know, get outside the pocket. Then it makes that pass rush honest again for a minute, so then you can stay in the pocket. Although, I admit there's 6 minutes and 50 seconds to go, and the score is 31-6, too.
Pierce outside the Giant 45 to about the 47, hit by Bates.
The Dallas Cowboys are not playing their regular defense. They're in their prevent defense. They're in their nickel defense. And so, you know, I mean, it's easy to say, well, is now Kent Graham comes in here. Why didn't Simms do this? Oh, he could have just done this. Well, they weren't playing defense like this, and it wasn't the same situation.
2nd and 5. Down as he slashes to about the Dallas 43. 31-6 the Cowboys lead. Remember back after the Cowboys had lost their first 2 games, people were saying how tough it is to defend the Super Bowl title. They're not the same team. Then they signed Emmitt Smith. Now this will be 6 in a row they've won. There's Jerry Jones.
Yeah, he's down there. Jerry Jones, of course, the owner of the Cowboys, down there with one of his most valuable commodities, checking out how he is, Troy Aikman. Of course, I think you better take a little look at Emmitt Smith, too, because you're talking about a valuable player.
Graham, deep for Jackson. Brown on the coverage, incomplete.
Mark Jackson, number 89, number 20.
A new contract for Troy Aikman, who still has 2 years on his contract, and then since then, they said that they've started negotiations now in November. Of course, Troy Aikman said he knew that he had to wait, but then he found out that he was the 31st highest paid quarterback in the NFL. He said that upset him a little. Some of those 30 guys in front of him, he didn't even know who they were.
A few of them didn't upset him, but some of the 30 did. Here's Graham. Pass is caught by Jackson. He swings it close to a Giant first down. Knocked out by Everett.
I think that, you know, at the end of the day, the Cowboys are, you know, because of that 0-2 start that you talked about, and not having Emmitt Smith, and their team has improved too, but now they're going to go in today and finally get back in first place in their division, and that's the thing you have to do. First of all, you win your division first. And you go on, you take care of the playoffs, the championship game, the Super Bowl. But I think Emmitt Smith hurt his shoulder.
I think he did too. Not on the touchdown run before that. Lewis Tillman stopped by Winston.
Because we know that they already lost Troy Aikman. And, you know, you hope that Emmitt Smith's shoulder is going to be okay.
Well, you talk about they have an arsenal full of stars, guys you have to stop. Those are two guys. There's one of them, Emmitt Smith and Aikman. Two of the brighter stars.
He can't lift that right arm. You see that? He even had someone had to put his cap on for him. He's hurt that right shoulder.
2nd and 7. Pass intended for Meggett. A little high. The Emmitt Smith factor going into today. When their record was 0-2, and now their record was 5-0 going into today. Points doubled. Rushing yards, a considerable improvement. And this will be 6 in a row since he signed and came back.
Yeah, and I think when you take it all into account, running, pass catching, blocking, to me, I think he's the best in football.
With a blitz, looking at him. Pass is incomplete. Juggled by Jackson. Gant appears to be a Cowboy shaken up on the last play.
I'll tell you, this is either the worst pass protection I've ever seen against the Cowboys or the best pass rush I've seen of the Cowboys. Now they have a big lead and they're blitzing, but watch Tolbert come from the outside. I mean, every time the quarterback goes back and stays in the pocket, it seems like there's always 2 or 3 guys knocking him down as he throws it.
Looks like everything's just caving in. Flag on the play. Graham hit again. Just does get rid of it. Penalty marker down.
Yeah, that's a free play because the Cowboys were offside.
I think you'd have to discuss with Kent Graham whether it was free or not.
No, I wouldn't take it. I'd just run the clock out of it. I would. Yeah, I mean, there's a point in the game where you say call in the dogs and put out the fire. The hunt's over.
Yeah.
And I kind of think this is a point for the Giants.
Offside. Defense. 97. The penalty is declined. Pass interference. Defense. Penalty accepted. First down.
First down. That's the 2nd time today they've had 2 penalties on the same play.
Boy, football's come a long way when the guy that's holding the down marker has gold on the hand that holds the down marker.
The official word that we get on Emmitt Smith that he is sore and tired. He has every right to be sore and tired.
And he hurt his right shoulder, too.
1st and 10. After the penalty, the Giants at the Cowboys 20. Graham, the quarterback, gives to Bunch. Jared Bunch. Out of bounds by Brown at about the 7. It'll be 1st and goal from there.
Out of bounds by Larry Brown.
Yeah, but I think sometimes there's a point in a game, and again, you just try and get it over with. You just run out the clock. Try and keep your team as healthy as you can be and then start getting ready for next week. And I think for the Giants, that point has come. Now you can say, oh, you never give up with a game blown. When it's 31-6, I think, like I say, you call in the dog. And I think they just want to run this thing out.
First and goal from the 7. 3:47 left to play. Graham throws it away. Again, he gets knocked down. Again by Haley.
Yeah, you know, the stuff that Charles Haley does, it's interesting. They say Haley doesn't have this stat or doesn't have that stat, but I still think that when you look at 94, I still think he's one of the most dominant players in the National Football League.
Funny, we were talking to Stepnoski yesterday, the Dallas center, and to Nate Newton. One of Haley's children was selling candy, and they all bought candy.
Well, yeah, Haley was selling the candy for his daughter, and they all bought it.
They all bought it. Graham incomplete for Pierce.
But old Stepnoski just had one little box of candy, and Nate had a big shopping bag full. He had 10 cans of it. I mean, he had big cans of it. So I said, Nate, I said, how come you had so many barrels from Haley? And he said, oh, he and I are buddies. I think Nate kind of took that candy, probably ate half of it last night before he went to bed. Nate's the kind of guy that'll hide some of that under his bed, too. You know, hide a barrel of that candy underneath his bed the night before the game.
Well, he can hold a lot of candy.
I can see where he's holding it.
Graham back, the blitz is in a hurry. This is by Thomas Everett, who hit Graham just as he got rid of the ball.
Yeah, this is the point. I mean, to me, this does no good. I mean, I'm not being critical of anyone other than I think that you ought to just run the ball. Just run the thing, keep the clock going. And why keep going back there and, and throwing ducks? And you've already lost one quarterback, and the other one's getting ready to go.
Well, it is what they call a learning experience.
Yeah, but it's not a good learning experience. I mean, I think it's a point where you've been beaten.
Yeah.
And
sometimes those learning experiences can hurt.
And you want to come back again next week and be better.
Get a good look at the scoreboard. What's happening around the league today? Houston, another team that's rebounded after a bad start. Washington at New York. This is next week here on CBS. Begins with the NFL today. 12:30, Green Bay at New Orleans, San Francisco, Tampa Bay, Washington at the Giants. Late games, Phoenix at Dallas. That game's been changed to a late game. Minnesota, Denver, Atlanta, and the Rams. That's all on CBS next week. 31-6 here at Texas Stadium. Not using that right shoulder
I
too
know.
much, is
You
he?
see, he's using his left hand there to take that shoe off. I mean, he's had a couple of tough weeks, and again, at the end of a running back takes a lot of hits.
Everything he's doing,
some guys just hitting him up. Yeah, some guy just hit him up for his gloves, and the guy's there. You're trying to get your shoes undone, and the guy's asking you for your gloves.
Fourth down. Graham, that's going to be out of the end zone. No flags, but there's another flag back at the line of scrimmage.
And there was an avalanche that happened right on Graham. Again, part of it was Jimmy Jones, and part of it was the blitz at James Washington.
All start. They'll do this again, won't they?
Offense, right tackle. There was no play.
There was no play.
Hard penalty. Still fourth down.
Emmitt Smith, the word gets to us that he says he is just tired and is finished for the day.
Please reset the game clock to 3 minutes and 35 seconds.
There were times when he wouldn't admit that he was tired.
What happened on that last play, it was fourth down, and the Giants moved before the ball was snapped, so there was no play. So now they're going to kick the field goal.
Treadwell, Graham holding, should be about 29 yards away. The kick is good, and it's 31-9. The Giants got 2 field goals last week, 3 today.
Dallas 31, the Giants 9.
You're not going to win many divisions with just field goals.
No, that's the thing. They haven't been able to score touchdowns. They've had trouble in the red zone. Again, they've had trouble. You know, you can say it's Mike Sherrard or whatever. It starts with pass protection. You get that down. You give your quarterback time. Now, if it doesn't work, you can go and say that you need the receivers. But I think you go to first things first. And I think today was a story of the Dallas defensive front dominating the Giants offensive front.
They're just very good.
Well, the Cowboys got off to a good start with Troy Aikman when he was darn near perfect, and then they got ahead. Then they let guys like Charles Haley take over, and when you let Charles Haley take over and kind of go where he wants, that makes you change quarterback. But again, I don't think that Haley gets the credit that he deserves for being the dominant player he is, because a lot of times, a lot of stuff that he, like when he hits Sims, when he has his arm, hits his arm and all those things, they don't have stats for a lot of those things.
And you forget he's playing with a very bad, very painful back.
Here's an onside kickoff.
Somebody jumped. That might have been successful.
It was successful. Yeah, the Giants had all their guys lined up on this side, and they just kicked the ball, and it took a good bounce. Watch, you want to kick it down, 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 and then take a high hop right there.
Just like that.
That was a perfect onside kick, and the Giant was right there, and he caught the ball. That's a Giants ball.
Chris Callaway, there's the bounce.
Watch that bounce. He said it just goes right up in the air, right into Chris Callaway's arms.
Another final, Detroit 23.
Tell you, that's a heck of a play. That was a great onside kick.
That's exactly like you'd like it to behave, but unfortunately, the way that ball is shaped.
It has been ruled that the player from New York would have come down in the field of play had he not been forced out. It is a legal recovery. 1st and 10, New York.
Well, we better get this game over with quickly. Yeah. The referee's not going to have any voice left. He started off the game with a bad voice. He said he was hoarse and had laryngitis or something. And as we go on and on and on, Dick Hantek keeps getting worse and worse.
That's too long a call for a guy with a bad voice.
Yeah, I thought his feet were down anyway. I mean, he goes up and there's both feet were down anyway. I don't know what they're talking about.
It has been ruled that they were down.
Yeah, but they didn't have to rule because they were down before he went out.
Sims stays on the sideline. Graham is the quarterback. Graham chased again. Can't get rid of it. Darren Smith came free. Flag on the play.
Credit the sack to number 59, Darren Smith. Flag on the play.
Be holding, and it's going to be against Dallas.
Holding. Defense, number 51, 5 yards. Automatic first down.
It's against Ken Norton. He can hold with his one good arm, I guess.
Yeah, if he held, it had to be with his left arm because his right arm is where he tore the right bicep. And I guess he can pull the arm up and back, but he has trouble turning it sideways, pronation. He has trouble pronating.
1st and 10 in any case. Dallas 43. Here's Graham back. Going deep for Callaway and out of bounds.
Kent Graham isn't going to have fond memories of this stadium. Remember, it was Thanksgiving Day when the Cowboys beat the Giants so bad here. And Kent Graham, last year, and Kent Graham was the starting quarterback then. So this place hasn't been fun for him.
Today's game was produced by Bob Stenner and directed by Sandy Grossman. Associate producers Michael Frank, stage manager Rich Nelson. Do the rest of that in a moment. Meggett on the draw play, Giant first down.
Come on, come on, come on.
To give to
broadcast associates today, John Coleman'sberger and Mike Roy. Coordinating producer of the NFL Today is Eric Mann. Director of the NFL Today is Larry Cambolina. Senior producer of the NFL on CBS is Ed Gorin. Graham back, down. Jeffcoat.
Yeah, we have to look at that play again. I mean, that was a great move by Jeffcoat. He took Eric Moore and just jammed him. Watch this. Here's Eric Moore playing. Here's Jeffcoat here. Now watch what he does to him. In fact, I got to look at this one on the clicker here. Watch this. He comes in. Boom. I mean, he just knocked him right over. I mean, watch him. He hits him with the right and then the left. Watch the left. You get him going that way, then just keep him going that way, right over the top, and look what they found. I mean, that is dominance. I mean, you take a guy, Eric Moore's just coming back, 4-week suspension and all that, but Jeffcoat gave him a lesson. And there's another one.
Another one, yeah. Graham got it out to Callaway. Or Meggett, beg your pardon.
Again, now you see Eric Moore is turned and waiting and waiting and waiting, and Jeffcoat again. Eric Moore is just starting too high, and he's letting those guys get underneath him and straighten him up. Then he loses all his power, and then you just run right over him.
Plus, he's backing up all the time.
Right, and the reason that he's in there, of course, is because Jumbo Elliott has that pinched nerve in the neck.
2 minutes left to play at Texas Stadium. 31-9. Cowboys lead the Giants. He pulled a hamstring. Jimmy Johnson's decided to. Okay.
Well, that's
time for nachos now. I can take off the gloves.
That's what like a construction worker. You know, the end of the day, you pull your gloves off. The guy's been jackhammering all day. Put the jackhammer away, pull the gloves off, stick them in your back pocket, go home. Nate's talking about all those barrels of candy he ate last night. He probably said he's going to give them to his kids. Baloney, they don't even see them.
Graham had to throw retreating again. The Cowboys blitzed with Thomas Everett again. Kenneth Gant almost came up with the reception down the field.
In Graham's pass, almost intercepted.
You know, Mark Stepnoski was talking about how he, has his jersey taped and tapered and then tapes the pads and there's nothing to grab, and he goes through a thing where it takes him a half hour to tape his shoulder pads to his jersey and the defense can't grab him up. Ask Nate if he tapes him. He says, no, I got enough stuff that'll hold that jersey tight to me.
Nobody can grab it. Here's Graham. Again, he's chased out of the pocket. This one's planned. McCafferty. Out of bounds. Or did he stay in? Clock has stopped. He did get out.
Yeah, there's Stepnoski. You see, he got that tapered jersey, and that jersey is taped to the shoulder pads. So there's nothing you can grab there. See him in the arms, the whole body. See, he's a technician. Nate says he doesn't have to tape his shoulder pads. He said he's just a grappler. Says he just lets everything hang there. He said the jersey's going to be tight anyway. Said he doesn't have to do it like Stepnoski does it, although Giesick looks like he may do it too.
Cornish. Frank Cornish has replaced Nate Newton at left guard. So it's a Stepnoski, Giesick, Cornish in the middle. And Derek Lassick is the running back. Flag on the play. This will be no play.
False start. Offense, number 68. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Yeah, a guy that stays in there, and probably, if you had to pick the most underrated player of the Cowboys, maybe a year ago it was Daryl Johnston, the Moose, and now I think it's probably the left tackle there, number 71, Mark Tuinei. I mean, he's been playing for 11 years.
Just stays in there,
just stays in there, always takes that tough pass rusher. Tough guy, always does a good job, very solid, smart.
That's Lassick. Andre Powell made the stop on Lassick.
The Cowboys have so many good players, and so many all-pros that you never get to the Mark Tuineis.
17-yard line.
You spend your time talking about the Irvins and the Harpers and the Aikmans and the Smiths.
And even
Eric
with the
Williams,
line, I mean, even with the line, Stepnoski went to the Pro Bowl last year. Nate Newton went to the Pro Bowl last year. But you don't get out to old Mark Tuinei, but he's very, very solid.
Second down and 15.
And I think the Cowboys are solid. I mean, I think the Cowboys, if you look and say, who's the best team in football right now, we look here, we see they're the best team in the NFC East. And right now, to me, there's no doubt that they're the best team in the NFL.
San Francisco would come the closest to being the next.
And, of course, they played a few weeks ago, and the Cowboys have already beaten them. And I think, they have to have some luck. They have to stay healthy. I mean, you wonder about Troy Aikman. You wonder about Emmitt Smith's shoulder. I mean, all these things, they have to have. They have to have these star players.
Well, they've been very lucky in that area, the injury area. They were all of last year.
Yeah, and today when they lose Aikman, their defense really came up and played well today. And then, of course, Emmitt Smith in the running game took over.
So Jimmy Johnson comes over and says hello. And congratulations, maybe, to Dan Reeves, and heads back to the locker room. 31-9.
What a special day.
The Cowboys improved their record to 6-2. The Giants are now 5-3. Halfway through the NFL season of 1993. Greg Terry and Matt Millen, who's in the studio. John Madden, Pat Summerall saying so long from Texas Stadium, where the final score was 31-9. Dallas. Stay tuned for the NFL Today postgame show. You're watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.
Hey, Remington, shave this.